everyone! Good evening and welcome to OFE Side Hustle, kung saan pwede kayong matuto and mag-share ng iba't ibang side hustles. Now, this is our 13th episode. Please like and follow our Facebook group. It is OFE Investing and Business Community. This will help us grow and spread the advocacy of the group, which is to help everyone, not just OFWs, to learn more about mindsetting, investing, and entrepreneurship. So, pag pinasok niyo yung group na yan, makakita kayo ng episodes namin dyan about stock market, cryptocurrency, meron ding vlogging, meron about coffee, about gold. So, madami kayong matututunan. Feel free to join the group and add as well your families and friends. Now, this is our 13th episode and very excited ako dito sa episode na to kasi personally, wala akong idea pero gusto ko din siyang patutunan. So, our episode is entitled Getting Started with Digital Art. We have our very special guest, an OFW here in Singapore, to help us answer our questions about digital art. Let's all welcome Miss Issa Ocampo.
Hi
Hi,
everyone. Hi Shida. Hello OFE community. Good evening.
Thank you sa pag-accept ng invitation namin.
Thank you also for the invite.
Kumusta?
Okay naman. Ito. Kabado.
Okay lang yan. Sa unang first few minutes kakabahan ka, afterwards okay na yan.
Ay, sana nga ganun. Diyan.
Ngayon, Isa, about digital art. Matagal ka na ba nag-start sa digital art?
Digital art itself, hindi. Nag-start ako when it was 2020, nung height ng COVID. So, I wanted to try digital art from going to traditional art because before, I used to do watercolor. So, doon ako nagsimula. Well, sketching, watercolor, and then I delved into digital art last year kasi for me, lalo na dahil sa space problem, kasi di ba usually if you have traditional art, you have to have a lot of tools. So may kang brushes, paper, or even an easel or yung mga malalaking, that stuff.
Mga frames din, di ba?
Correct. So parang since kami naman, wala naman kami talagang bahay dito and we only are renting a studio unit. So it's very hard na you have a lot of stuff and you really don't have anywhere else to put it in. So for me, I tried digital art na yun yung first reason kung bakit. I-check ko lang siya sana kung okay ba siya or kung mas madali ba. But it's not really easy. Pero mas madali siya kasi nga you don't really need a lot of tools. Parang as long as meron ka ng isang tool that you have, then you can live with that and grow your art or make your art using a tablet only. So you don't need to have a lot of brushes. You don't really need to have tons of paper or anything. Yeah.
Pero matagal na ba yung digital art sa market? Or recently lang din siya?
I think it's been there for a very, very long time. Even sa mga movies you see na Disney was using hand-drawn art nung sa mga Aladdin, Little Mermaid days. Pero ngayon, I think it's all digital na. So, yes, it's been there for a long time. And I think isa din siya sa mga very popular mediums as of the moment because it's very easy to create. Even in corporate art, you see it a lot. It's not really hand-drawn anymore. It's digital 100% or maybe 90% of the time. It's all digital na.
Grabe, no? Grabe din talaga yung technology. Parang before, years ago, iisipin mo, pag sinabi mong art, ay painting yan. Something that I can touch, something na madidisplay ko. Di ba? Ganun before yung idea mo ng art eh. So ngayon, high-tech na din even yung arts. Yung mga ganun.
Oo, pero yung mga digital art naman, it can still be printed. So, I think a lot of even traditional artists, they try to edit or at least do some digital edits for their work. So either they want to make it more vibrant in color. Sometimes they have to edit it using Photoshop maybe or Adobe. They use those, I think. So may mga iba talaga na kahit even though you're traditional, you still use digital means to enhance your work. And of course, even if you do use either digital fully or 100% digital, piniprint mo naman din siya. So physically, pwede mo pa rin makuha or you still can have a physical representation of your work kahit man digital artist ka.
That's nice kasi akala ko kapag sinabing digital art, parang okay, nasa iyo lang yung copy yung digital art
Ah,
mismo. Hindi ko alam na pwede mo pala siyang i-print din and
mm-mm.
then ipa-frame mo, gano'n. Pero may limit ba yun? Kasi 'pag gano'n, ibig sabihin parang pwede mo siyang i-replicate many times, like i-print mo
Mm.
siya unlimited. Okay
Mm-mm.
okey lang ba siya 'pag gano'n?
I guess it depends then on the artist. So I think sometimes artists or digital artists, maybe digital artists, of course, lahat yon is a copy of copies of their work. Pero some traditional artists I know, or at least dun sa mga fina-follow ko sa Instagram, what they do is they have their original work, but they also print a lot of copies para ibenta or at least i-sell sa mga fans nila. So it's not really as if there's only one true copy and then they sell it and then that's that. No. Parang they make a lot of copies and then they give it out or they sell it for those who are interested. So, yan.
Okay,
Depende
okey.
siya, I think eh.
Mm. Sige, before tayo mag-start do'n sa presentation, basa muna
Mhm.
tayo ng comments. Ayan.
Okay. May comments na ba?
Ayan.
Oh!
Hello daw
Hello, good
from Sir Noel
evening.
Rosas. Hello, magandang gabi from Banahaw, Tablea, all the way from Oslo, Norway. Hello, Sir Noel.
Ah,
Thank you po for watching.
hello, Sir Noli.
Ayan, from Trisha. Good evening, Trisha.
Good evening, Trisha.
Ito, si Janjan. Hello,
Ako.
Isa and mga
Sino
ka-OFE.
yan? Joke lang. Hi, Jan.
Ito si Carl. Hi, Carl.
Hello, Carl.
Ito.
Hi, June.
Ayan. And of course, from OFE. Good evening.
Good evening, OFE.
Ayan. So, I guess pwede na tayong mag-start ng presentation mo.
Hmm.
Pwede ka nang mag-share
Ah,
screen.
okay. Sige, mag-share na ako ng screen. And then, basta if ever may comments kayo, kasi hindi ako naka-double. I guess I should have done double screen, pero naka-single screen lang ako ngayon. So, hindi ko makikita yung comments. So, let me know, Shida, if may comments or questions na lang. Okay lang
Sige,
na
sige.
i-post ko ako. Kita na ba yung screen ko?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so pwede na tayo mag-start. So, again, thank you for the invite. So, yung show na to, or at least my presentation, is about digital art and getting started with sharing your works online and your commissions. So, hindi ako mag-workshop about how to start digital art. I can give you some tips, but hopefully yung process na experience ko when I was starting will help you guys in starting your own digital art journey as well. So, it's ba't siya na ganon? Nag-skip siya kaagad. Charot. Joke lang. Sige. So, about me, so I'm Issa Ocampo. So, self-taught artist ako in traditional and digital art. Originally, I started with doing traditional art and my medium was watercolor. So, I think for a lot of years, I just did watercolor. And then recently, I started doing digital art in 2020 during COVID. And yung digital medium ko ngayon na ginagamit is Procreate app. So it's available, I think, in Apple app only. It's not available in Android, unfortunately. And yung social media ko, if ever you're interested, it's Isa Ange Art. So it's IG and Twitter, but I'm active in IG than Twitter. So yun. Just to give you an idea kung ano yung art ko or what it looks like. So my art samples or art style, it's mostly storybook styled art, and I usually like using muted and earthy colors. So as you can see, it's not really that vibrant, but for me, that's my style and that's what I enjoy making. So yeah. Okay, so before tayo mag start with discussing about digital art, so this is a very brief um, at least yung description about digital art. So digital art is an artistic work or practice that uses digital technology as part of the creative or presentation process. So this is from Wiki. So digital art can be a lot of things actually. So there are different forms of digital art. So mostly, yung pinakasikat ngayon na nakikita natin either sa Instagram or maybe in other sites, it's actually 2D or 3D digital painting. So this is either what do you call it? Well, for me, it's my form of art is actually 2D painting. So yun yung type niya. And then there are other types like typography, pixel art, even digital collage, yung mga fractal art, digital photography, even photo painting and vector art. I think the vector art is the ones that you see a lot in corporate art, or at least yung mga ginagamit sa either abstract or business setting, or even
Mm.
sa mga sa mga logos or something like that. So like for example sa McDo, Burger King, makikita mo ang logos nila. I think that's a type of a vector art. So yun, there are like a lot of types. And if you as an artist want to start in building your own page or own brand, it's really important na try mo i-identify kung what speaks to you and what you enjoy making. So for me, ang na-enjoy ko talaga is yung 2D or digital painting.
Mm. Ang dami palang klase ng art, Isa.
Oh,
Nagulat
ang
ako.
dami.
Akala ko 'pag sinabi mong art, oh yeah, yung sinabi mo, yung
Isa lang.
2D or 3D, oo, digital painting.
Mm-mm.
Typography, yan ba yung parang, yung mga letterings, ganyan?
Yes. I think I can show you an example. One of the very popular typographist right now na local is Abby C. So I'll show you what her work looks like. So I think she uses a mixture of traditional and digital art. So as you can
Mm.
see, ito yung mga ganito, typographies. So I think this is very popular. If for example you want if you want to do typography, ang isa sa mga pwede mong puntahan na business is like creating postcards or
Mm.
creating wedding invitations. So
Mm.
basta you have to find your own form, and then you start from there, and then you grow your own brand from there. So yan, ganda no, ito din yung
Oo,
sa
ang
mga
ganda.
gusto ko.
Feeling ko kaya
So
mo din yan, eh. Kasi
ayun.
parang may nabasa akong article, magaling siya sa typography tapos ginawa niya ng sarili niyang font yung typography niya, parang
Wow,
gano'n.
I think that is possible. Like
Mm.
um I'm not really that knowledgeable, but yes, you can create your own if that's what you want to do. But
Mm.
yeah, I think it's possible. But see, it's very very pretty.
Hmm.
So yeah. Okay, I'll go to the next slide. So when I started doing my art, hindi ko naman siya kaagad shinare online. So parang for me, I decide when I asked myself why I wanted to share my work online, the first and first and foremost reason was to grow and to have some feedback from
Mm.
others. So doon ako nag-start. So I wanted to grow and see my growth. Kasi syempre, if you post it online, you always see your works from before, and then you can compare it from the latest ones that you did. Other people, they want to share their work online kasi gusto nilang yung community ng art community. They want to join the art community. And of course, some people, they do it for work reasons. They wanted to build their portfolio, or maybe they want to go to art school and make a living or a professional living out of it. So yun yung another reason. So another reason is, of course, you want to market yourself and sell your work. So for me, that happened at a later time pa. So I did that. That wasn't my first reason why I went online. Pero doon din ako pumunta eventually. So,
Mm.
yan.
So
So,
parang
for
ano siya, sorry,
yes.
pero before parang hindi mo pa talaga naiisip yung monetization part. More
Ay,
on,
hindi. Hindi ba?
parang portfolio muna, parang, or hobby, na parang gusto
Hobby
mo,
muna siya. Actually,
oo.
until now, it's still predominantly a hobby for me. So it wasn't really, let's say if I can, if I wanted to, I can also still market and sell. Pero right now, I want to break then. So it's mostly for ano lang, for a hobby or growth ulit for me.
Mm.
Yes. So yeah. And then, of course, nun sa mga expectations ko before, I just wanted to share this one because I think it's better if you have the right expectations when you go into digital art or even any art. And then if you want to do it professionally or if you want to do it consistently, ito yung kailangan mo talagang expect. First, that it requires a lot of work. And next is that you have to do your own research and planning. So I think isa sa mga common misconceptions about artists is that they don't use references or parang lahat ng kine-create mo is all from your mind. No, it doesn't. I wish ganun siya pero hindi. You really do use a lot of references. You do use a lot of studies and yan, you have to plan for it as well. So hindi siya parang alam mo yun, parang ay gusto ko lang mag-create. Yan na. Hindi siya ganun.
Oo, kasi 'di ba, sa yung common misconception, yung parang napapanood natin ngayon, parang bigla
Mm.
ka na lang mai-inspire and then
Mm.
makakapag-drawing ka na.
Actually, it happens from time to time. Nangyayari siya pero it doesn't happen always. And if you try to rely on those spur of the moments na parang wow, super duper inspired ako, nako, aasa ka lang masyado. So it's not like that. Pero it does happen though. For me, it happens far and few in between. It's mostly research and planning for you if you want to create consistently or make art consistently. And then another thing is that you have to learn from a lot of criticism, especially if you're going to do commissions or if you want to plan to create your art for other people. You have to learn how to take the criticism kasi you're creating for them. So if
Mm,
ever they don't want it or if they want you to change something, then you have to.
mm.
Unless, for example, you're already selling a work that you created, well, of course, you don't have to get some criticism kasi kinukuha na ng customer yung work that is already done. But if people are, for example, hiring you or commissioning you for a work that you haven't done, then yes, there's going to be like a lot of criticism from that. And of course, with criticism comes from revision, and will come with revisions. So yung work mo, it will have to go through first draft, second draft, third draft. So it's normal. Even when I'm creating my own art, even though I don't really create it for other people, for example, I'm just creating it for myself. Minsan hindi ako masaya dun sa first draft ko. So ang
Mm.
gagawin ko lang is kakopy ko ulit yung sketch ko and then I'll start again. So it does happen. So yung nakikita nyo online na parang wow, yung pag pinost nila yan parang wow, ganun na kaagad, no? Ang
Mhm.
daming work na nangyayari at the back of it. And it's better if you know that that's what the reality is for a lot of artists so that hindi ka ma-discourage kasi ang daling makita yung mga magagaling na artists and then say na ay sana ganun din ako pero they also started from doing basic or very small stuff and then they grow along the way talaga.
Tama. Isa question, kasi curious
Mhm.
ako dun sa revisions na part. Like,
Mhm.
how many revisions yung i-a-allow mo? Like, before you can say, okay, tama na
Ah.
'to, hindi talaga nagwo-work 'tong partnership na 'to with client.
You mean professionally or parang let's say when I just want to create something?
Professionally, halimbawa may kliyente ka, gano'n.
Pag may kliyente ka, it depends. Actually, for me, which is I will also discuss it later, dun sa terms of service ko, when I create commissions, I allow at least I think two minor revisions to my work.
Mm.
So anything major, may additional na pera na kailangan
Okay.
ibigay. Yes. So you can actually decide for yourself if ever how many revisions you're comfortable with if ever you're going to do commissions. So it's up to you. But for me, I think it was 2 to 3. So it
Okay, okay.
depends.
Ah, before ka mag-proceed sa next slide, Isa, may gustong
Mhm.
mag-hi sa'yo.
Ay,
Si
sino?
Maxine.
Oh, hi Maxine.
Hi
Ay, sorry,
daw.
nag-change ako ng screen.
Tapos, may question si Janjan.
Okay. Ayoko.
What
Joke lang. Sige.
what if hindi ka creative katulad namin ni Carl, hindi artistic, may chance ba?
Oo naman, may chance yan. I mean, of course, creativity has a big factor, but also yung honing your skills. Kasi you'd like to think na parang lahat ng artists are all talented from day one, but no. I started drawing at a very young age talaga. Ever since Ghost Fighter pa ata. Nag-drawing na ako. No?
Grabe. Ang
Pero
tagal
yung
mo
mga
pala.
Oo, pero I do it recreationally, like parang pag gustong-gusto ko lang or pag trip ko lang. Hindi siya yung recently na parang consistently ako nagka-create, no. And even then, it was hard for me to grow kasi I was doing it very not that often. Like for example, I'll probably do it like once every 3 months. Ano mo may expect na gagaling kapag ganun, 'di ba?
Kailangan madaming practice, no?
Madaming practice talaga, yes. So it's not just talent. It's a lot of practice. It's a lot of work. And you can do it and it's not late. Yung mga 30s ako. Hindi mo naman siya late. So kaya naman siya.
Speaking of age, eto may comment si Christine.
Hi,
Hello,
Christine.
my 14-year-old kid who's into
Mm-hmm.
digital art is
Yes.
watching. Thank you,
Wow!
Christine.
Thank you. Sana may matutunan siya.
Yan.
Okay. So, sunod na ako sa next slide. Okay, so let's say na you already decided that you wanted to start digital art. Are you you're going to start or you want to proceed with doing digital art? So actually there are only a few things that you need. And for me, ito lang yung kailangan mo. So one is yung drawing tablet. And then second is, of course, the drawing pencil that you will need. I think originally before, digital art was very, let's say na madaming taong ayaw kumuha ng digital art or mag-start because the tools were very expensive. You were either having to buy yung Wacom tablet, which is used by professional artists. So ngayon kasi, meron ka ng either Samsung tablet or any tablet or even an Apple or an Apple or iPad. So ngayon, naging much accessible na siya sa mga tao that want to start. And I think that's also the reason why it also is becoming very, very popular right now. Is because, yun nga, humiram ka na lang ng tablet sa friend mo. You can try it already. And some nice to haves are, the one is yung paper like screen protector and another is yung drawing gloves. So magbibigay ako ng example what a drawing glove is. Kita mo niya ba? Sorry, hindi ko nakikita yung screen. Susuotin ko na lang siya. So it looks like this.
I-remove ko
So,
muna yung screen share para makita nila.
Okay.
Yan.
Sige. So it looks like this. Teka ako din.
Okay.
ako. So ano siya? The reason why most digital artists use this is because yung alam mo yung phantom touch pag kunyari nasa tablet ka. For example, you're using this one. And then, of course, when you draw, it's going to touch your this one, the side of this palm. So minsan, gagawa siya ng yung maggagawa siya ng brush, yes. So to avoid it, you can use this one. It's very cheap. You can find it in Shopee, probably Lazada, everywhere else. So I got two. So para pag yung isa nalalabhan, meron akong extra. Yan na. So yan, yung paper like screen protector, I'm not sure if this is available sa Samsung, but this is available in iPad. So what it does is it has like a paper like texture. So pag nagdo-draw ka, it really feels like paper. So for me, I like, kaya nga nice to have lang siya. It's not really something that you need. It's just a nice to have thing if ever you want yung parang traditional experience na parang na medium.
So, parang siyang matte finish. Ganun ba siya?
Yes, parang siyang matte finish. Tapos parang pag mag-write ka, parang siyang parang scratchy na na sound. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oo,
or that.
narinig ko, oo.
Right? So, ano siya, parang siyang paper-like.
Mm,
Yan.
that's nice.
So, yun lang actually yung tools ko. Kaya nga, for me right now, I enjoy digital art more than traditional is because I don't really need a lot of stuff. So, hindi ko kailangan mag-haul ng super daming tools. Hindi ko
Mm-mm.
kailangan ng water to, to dip my paint in. So, it's easier. I guess in that concept, it's easier than traditional art.
Pero in a way ba, is it cheaper? Kasi mas konting bibilin mo
Mm,
eh.
siguro, let's say siguro in the long term, it can be cheaper.
Mm-mm.
Kasi I think some brushes right now can go for thousands of pesos. Lalo
Oh
na yung
my God!
yes, lalo na yung mga super nice ones and yung mga very I think the ones that have horse tail brush or something. Yeah, yung mga ganon, it's very very expensive. Kaysa yung mga synthetic brushes. Of course, it doesn't mean na gaganda bigla yung yung work mo pag kunyari super mahal na yung brush mo, hindi. But
Mm-mm.
it does I think, holds a lot of water and hold a lot of paint very well. So it depends. Pero yun. I guess yes, you can say na mas cheaper siya in the long run.
Mm-mm. Okay. Kasi bibili ka pa din ng paint, 'di ba? Pag naubusan ka,
Mm,
re-replenish ka
yes.
ulit.
Tapos andun yung temptation na pag nakita ka ng magandang brand or ng magandang palette, parang,
Oo.
ooh, parang gusto mong bilhin din. So for me kasi before, I only use, I think I still have it yung sa National Bookstore na palette. It
Mm-mm.
wasn't very expensive, but it was a very nice watercolor starter. And it was very cheap, I think, mga 300 plus. And nabuhay ako sa ganun dati. Pero syempre, pag nakikita ka na ng mga nice ones, parang natitempt ka na din na bumili. Yung ganun.
Syempre parang pagtagal, alam mo na yung magandang brand, 'di ba?
Kasi parang yun na yung sinesearch mo. So parang, uy, maganda to.
Ano na yung
So,
ini-aim mo na parang gusto ko magkaroon ng ganyan.
mm. So for me, parang walang masyadong ganon sa digital art. I just bought, I think after buying Procreate, because it's not free. It's $14. So mga 500, 700 pesos.
Yung app na
Mm,
ginagamit. Okay.
yes. There are free ones, pero walang sinabi sa Procreate.
Mm.
I've tried, yan, mamaya pag-uusapan ko din yan before. Pero, yan, I've tried other drawing apps, but Procreate takes the cake talaga.
May
So, for
comment
me,
si
it's worth it.
Christine, natawa ko sa
Okay.
comment ni Christine.
Ay, yung
Ako,
Wacom.
narinig ng anak ko yung Wacom tablet, bumuti ng pabili.
Dati yan
Why
din yung
not, diba?
nakikita ko.
Oo.
Oo. Dati talaga yun din yung parang minamataan ko before. Pero it was a bit daunting kasi, of course, if you're gonna buy a Wacom, it's parang saying na you have to commit yourself to creating art. Whereas
Mm.
pag kunyari pag gumagamit ka lang ng tablet, okay, pwede mo naman gamitin yung tablet for other purposes like maybe
Oo.
watching Netflix. Yan, ano siya, or
Oo.
books na.
Hindi ako familiar din sa ano. Hindi kasi ako artistic. Ano siya, for arts lang talaga, yung Wacom tablet. Hindi mo na
Yeah.
siya magagamit for any other stuffs like browsing.
No.
Wala na.
No, ano talaga siya, para lang siyang draw. Alam mo yung imbis na paper, gagamit ka ng tablet. You can search for it, or I can share my screen again, or you can enable sharing my screen. So, teka, ano ba?
Ayan,
Nakikita mo na ba?
nakita ko na yung screen mo.
Yes. So, ganito siya. So, parang pang-drawing lang talaga siya. And then, ikakabit mo siya sa mga PC para doon, So, it's really just for drawing. So, you cannot use it like, you cannot watch Netflix. You cannot use it to read ebooks or what. Hindi. So, ano siya, for me, nung time na yun, parang, sige na lang. Wag na lang. So, nung dumami na yung mga drawing apps sa mga tablets ngayon, doon ko talaga tinry yung digital art.
So, pag bumili ka na yan, committed ka na, no? Wala ka nang
Oo.
atrasan.
Parang feeling ko ganun siya. Na parang, kailangan mo nang i-commit sarili mo, kundi kawawa yung bumili nun para sa'yo.
Ang kailangan mo i-ROI lalo na kung mahal.
Oo, di ba? Parang parang mapapressure ka. So, ayan, ganun siya. Sige, i-continue ka na. May questions pa ba? Or okay na ako mag-continue?
Eto, may question si Martin. Ayan. Hi po,
Okay, hi
Miss
Martin.
Issa.
Hello.
Paano po kung gusto ko pagawa ng portrait? Pwede mag-provide lang ng picture and then ipiprint niyo po ba siya sa canvas? Thanks po. Nagmamahal, Ate Charing.
Ayun, hi Martin. Siya, depende siya I think sa artist. So other artists, what they offer is you can create the commission, you can just provide the portrait and then they'll do the drawing as well as the printing. But for me, I just provide the digital picture. So kayo na bahala kung kunyari gusto niyo siyang i-print, kayo na. So it depends sa artist na kukunin niyo. There's not a one size fits all type ng process. So, magandang i-ask mo yan if ever meron kang minamataan na artist, tanungin mo na lang sila. Or usually, nasa terms of service naman din yung mga ganyang bagay.
Naalala ko yung gawa mo, Isa, kamukha mo talaga yung isang art mo.
Sino yun? Asan yun? Teka.
Sa Instagram mo na sabi ko, kamukha ni Isa tong isa niyang gawa. Yan, pakita natin yung IG mo. Ayan.
Yeah, ako. Diyan na. Ay, kita na. Ay, pero kung mga Pinoy to, baka ma-appreciate nila yung latest kong gawa. Si Soji.
Ayan, ang ganda dito, guys. Oh, very, very relaxing. Hindi yung vibrant masyado. Oh, tama ka nga dun sa colors mo. Earth colors.
Diba? Hindi ako ma-vibrant. For some reason, hindi ko na-enjoy. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. Pero hindi ko gusto na super vibrant. I just wanted parang soft colors. So, doon din ako nag-focus. Ayan.
Scroll down.
Dito, sino doon?
Diba,
ito.
Ayan, yan yung kamukha mo.
Dapat pala gawin ko yan palang profile picture.
Hindi ko kamukha ni Isa yung isang gawa. Ayan.
Feeling lang. Feeling kamukha. Charot. Ayan. Sige, continue na ako sa next. So, of course, other things that you need sa mga skills is number one, drawing skills. Hindi ka pwedeng stick figure lang forever. Kailangan mo talaga siyang i-hone, kailangan mo siyang i-practice. If you really are serious, you have to make time for it. Some other skills that you need are photo editing or video editing skills. So if, for example, you want to also publish your work as a video, yung iba yun yung ginagawa. So you also have to, of course, study video editing skills. And also you have to, if ever kunyari gusto mo nga i-edit yung gawa mo, they do that. It's not really wrong. So if ever you want to edit it, then you also have to have these skills for your skill set, for example. Another thing that you need is, of course, if you're going to publish your work online, you also have to have marketing and social skills. So hindi naman porket mag-send ka lang, okay na. No, unfortunately, lalo na ngayon sa Instagram, the algorithm changes a lot. So if ever you want to build your brand, you really have to study it. You really have to take time to know the algorithm and how to beat it, daw sabi nila. Para daw para maging successful or at least maging mapakita sa wider audience yung work ko. Other things, especially if ever you're going to do commission work, is of course planning and task management skills. So I guess it's yung mga real world skills mo when you work, you can also apply it here. So for example, if you have, let's say, 3 commissions that you have on your plate, you also have to juggle those. So kung paano mo siya ipaplan with your day, especially if you're also working or doing, if you're taking care of your family, for example, you really have to plan it. So kailangan ng mix of those skills.
Isa, may question ako dun sa drawing skills.
Yes.
Like, for example, even sa traditional art, wala ka pang experience. Pwede ka na bang mag-proceed agad sa digital art? O advisable sa traditional ka muna mag-start?
Sa ganyan, mas madali kasi sigurong mag-practice sa traditional art or
Mm,
traditional way. Like for example, I still have a drawing pad even though I do digital art. So,
mm,
meron pa rin akong drawing pad with me because it's easier or at least pag gusto kong mag-warm up, minsan nagsistart ako sa drawing pad with drawing first. So,
mm,
I would say na magandang mag-practice traditionally first. So, you can just buy any drawing pad that you can have. You can use either pencil or pen. Pero meron ako nabasa din kasi na magandang tip. And I don't know if it will help you guys, but they say na mas maganda, yung isa kong favorite na artist is Hey Kala. So she's in Instagram. And I bought her art book. And one
mm,
of the things na nag-practice siya, gusto daw niyang gumamit ng pen. So the reason why she wants to always use the pen instead of pencil is because yung hindi siya nagiging fussy. Pag kunyari meron siyang corrections, parang, hayaan ko na lang. Paano ko siya ma-erase? So parang
mm,
hinahayaan niya yung imperfections and mistakes to be there and then practice lang siya ng practice. Which is nice. Kasi parang,
mm,
pag nag-start ka pang isipin mo, kailangan perfect lagi. Hindi naman. No.
mm. That's nice
So,
actually.
yeah. Kaya ngayon ako din, pen ang gamit ko din. I don't use pencil anymore also. Charot.
Mm.
So, ang dami kong mga mali-mali na stuff.
Pero parang sa mga paintings din 'di ba, yung mga imperfection, yun yung
mm.
nagiging brand pa nila, yung
Yes, correct.
imperfection na yun.
Yes.
So,
So, I think may mga iba na parang they draw out of the lines. I'm not sure if I can find like lowish. I think lowish. I don't know if this is the correct one. Lowish ba? Lowish. Yeah, ito. I think this is one of the main examples. So, if you can see her artwork, hindi siya talaga super duper perfect. So, I'll show you. See? So,
mm,
makikita mo na parang may imperfections sa art niya, but it's part of her brand. So, alam mo na
mm,
siya to pag ganito yung artwork niya. And it's very nice. So, yep. Imperfections are also there na para to give you your style. So, pwede din
mm.
siya. Mm-mm. Yeah,
Ganda din
nice
'no?
yan. Mm-mm.
Parang 'pag nakita mo yung isang page, makikita mo na agad yung theme niya,
Oo. Yeah,
'no?
yan. So, yan din yung mamaya pag-uusapan din natin yan briefly, yung importance of art style, especially if you're building a page. So, later we'll talk about it. Siguro briefly lang. Kasi
Mm.
nasa 40 minutes na tayo. Wala pa ako sa kalahati. Yan. Okay. Any other questions or okay na akong
Hmm. Yes,
diretso na
yes,
ako?
puwede ka muna magtuloy.
Okay, sige. So again, yan. Again, yung tools ko lang is iPad Pro. So yung gamit ko ngayon is 2018 model and ano siya, second hand. Kasi even when we bought this one, my husband bought it for me. So ayokong mag-shove ng super daming pera for this one. So I said, kahit second hand na lang. So, ang importante for me was yung memory. So I had it 256 gig. So hindi ko siya poproblemahin pag kunwari dumami na yung work ko, at least hindi ko poproblemahin yung memory for this one.
Mhm.
And yung drawing software na gamit ko is Procreate. So again, it's around $14, so around 700 pesos maybe.
Mm.
Yan. And some other software I use or apps I use are Image Size. So this is a free app in Apple. I'm not sure if this is available in Android, but I'm guessing na madami din ganitong app sa Android. So what it does is it's going to resize your work. So usually I work in 2048 by 2048 pixels. Pero
Mhm.
si Instagram kasi, ang ang preferred na pixel size niya is 1080. So, ginagamit ko tong app na to resize my work. The
Mhm.
reason why you need to resize your work for social media or maybe any other app is that, of course, pag pixelized na siya, pangit na siya tingnan. Kasi since you're a digital artist, you really have to ensure na kahit yung thumbnail size ng work mo is still visible to your customers or to your potential clients.
Mhm.
So it's very important na gamitin mo yung right pixel size when you're posting your work, lalo na sa Instagram.
Mm-mm.
So other apps I use, so feed preview. So this is just for me to check kung cohesive ba yung work ko,
Mhm.
or consistent ba yung work ko with my other works. So again, hindi naman to need per se. If you're starting, I don't think you need this one yet. Especially if, for example, if you're just trying to grow your art, not really necessary. But if, for example, you already want to create your own brand, maybe I think this is something that kailangan mo din i-check.
Mm-mm.
Canva, I use it for may time ata na gumamit na nag-YouTube ako, tapos kailangan kong mag-create ng thumbnail for the YouTube video. So I use Canva for that. Even yung itong presentation na to, this is Canva also. It's very
Mhm.
nice.
Oo,
So,
gumagamit din
yun.
kami ng Canva. May mga
Galing niya,
templates na kasi
no?
siya for presentation.
Ay, na. Ako nga, parang nung nakita ko tong template ko, parang okay, ito na yung gagamitin ko.
Oo, kasi
Hindi ka,
bagay din sa art mo, sa team mo, 'di ba?
yeah. Oo nga eh. Akala mo ako, hindi, ano yan, si Canva yan. Ayan. So, yun yung tools na gamit ko. I think wala na. Kasi, ayan, yun lang ang gamit ko. Kaya nga, kaboto ako sa digital art. Especially if you want to keep your clutter to a minimum, or for example, wala ka talagang space to do your art. Yeah, you can think about digital art for this. So, yan.
Mm.
Okay. So, of course, there are other drawing softwares available, especially if you're an Android user. So, merong Infinite Painter, Autodesk Sketchbook, Adobe Illustrator Draw, and Tayasui Sketches. There are other more, but this is, I think, the most popular ones in the market right now. So, yun lang. Pag kunyari interesado kayo. So, I think ito yung isang question. Android
Yeah.
or Apple, does it matter? Okay, in my personal experience, I don't know, baka i-bash niyo ako. I'm so sorry. But, nag-try ako first. Actually, I tried using Samsung tablet first. I used Samsung S7 tablet. So it's very recent. It's a very recent model. But I don't think it's part of the hardware. I think it's the software itself. Kasi yung ibang apps that I used for Samsung, they worked well for a time. And then, pag kunyari binalikan ko yung mga older works ko, if ever I use a lot of layers in my work, yung layer is yung parang where you put your work. Kasi of course, when you do traditional art, it's only one paper, right? Pero sa digital art, you can use many layers para ilagay yung yung work mo. So, for me, nung ang dami kong layers na ginamit for my digital art, oh my gosh, nagko-corrupt yung work ko. So, mayroon time na mayroon akong isang artwork na ginawa. Tapos nung binalikan ko siya, sira na siya. Sirang-sira na. So, parang malungkot ako talaga. So, I decided to try or to go with the app, to buy Apple or an Apple product, so yung iPad Pro. And then, so far, sa Procreate, wala pa naman akong problema. I guess it's also the reason why if you see professional artists, they all use Mac, either Mac or Apple. It's probably because yung stability ng software is there, and yun for me, one of the most important thing is that pwede kong balikan yung mga dati kong works and hindi siya sira. Yeah, yun. So for me, it does matter. Your mileage may vary, but for me, it does. So, yun lang.
Oo, wag kayong mag-alala guys, hindi naman 'to paid sponsorship ng
Hindi siya paid sponsorship. Hindi talaga. I wish nga talaga. Kasi nga yung una ko talaga, I mean, ayoko naman gumastos syempre. Yung first tablet, the tablet that we had then was Samsung. And again, it could be because of the app itself, not Android, not Samsung. Could be na yung app, hindi siya ganun ka-optimized. And kaya siya nasisira. So, yun. Unfortunately. Kaya nga sana, si Procreate pumunta na rin sa sa Android. But unfortunately, ngayon, I think nasa pa rin siya. Nasa iOS pa lang din siya and Apple pa lang din siya. So, yan.
So, maybe pwede na lang nila i-check yung reviews sa online. Maybe yung mga latest na version na tablet ng ano, 'di ba, ng Samsung.
I think ano naman din eh. Before, hindi ko din siya chinek. Kasi syempre parang ako, okay, free yung software, sige, itatry ko. Tapos nung nakita ko or nung na-experience ko nga na hindi ko na ma-access yung artwork ko or nasira na siya or na-corrupt. Chinek ko yung reviews. Tapos nakikita ko na yung other people also experience the same thing.
Mm.
So, yun, unfortunately, ganun talaga. So, yun nga. Ganun ang buhay. Again, hindi to sponsored. I wish I was sponsored, but no.
Tingin ko hindi mo din naman talaga makukuha yung perfect device sa unang try mo, 'di ba? Parang eventually magta-try ka pa ng other device eh.
Totoo yan. Pero, yun nga. Kung kunyari Apple user ka na even before, swerte mo. But no, Android ako talaga before. Pero since parang naging main hobby ko na yung digital art, so nag-shift ako to using Apple products ngayon. Kasi unfortunately also, ayun pa pala yung isang main thing. When you upload in Instagram, the quality of the picture, yung resolution of the picture, it varies from Android or Apple. Hindi ko alam kung bakit, pero it does. And unfortunately,
malayo ba?
Kasi may time na parang alam ko na tama naman yung resolution ko for Android, and then it still appears parang very pixelated, or parang alam mo yung kinompress yung image ko sa Android kaysa sa Apple. So parang ako, bakit? So, yan nga, minsan it's because of the app. And of course, if you really want to make it work, especially professionally, or gusto mo talaga siyang gawin as a side hustle, then you have to invest. Yan, ganon lang talaga siya.
Pero, di ba nga, mas mura pa din in the long run ang digital art.
Yes. And again, you don't have to use the latest product. So again, I'm using a 2018 model and it still works perfectly for me. So, hindi mo kailangan ng bilhin yung pinaka-latest. You don't have to buy brand new. If you can buy second-hand, why not? Yes, yan.
I agree. Kung kayang magtipid, di ba?
For me, second-hand ako, okay na sa akin. Masaya na ako doon.
Pagalingan lang daw maghanap yon Isa, ng second-hand.
Ay, oo, totoo. Kung maganda ba yung kung inalagaan ba yung tablet. Yes. Totoo yan. Okay, so next slide muna tayo. So I guess ito yung part ng hindi siya workshop talaga, pero if you want to hone your skills, I can give you some of these tips. So first and foremost, don't skip on the basics. So the basics are there for a reason. So mamaya mayroon namang ibang slide, so parang summary lang to. So next is that you understand yung drawing app na ginagamit mo. Of course, iba't iba siya. Procreate is different from Adobe Illustrator or Tayasui Sketches. You have to understand yung app itself for it to work for you. And then third is yung you use references. You use a lot of it. So for me, I use it for different things, and then mamaya i-explain ko kung saan ko siya ginagamit. Of course, yung fourth is that you have to practice regularly. Kasi when you also practice regularly, doon din lumalabas yung art style mo. Hindi siya automatic. Lalabas yan pag kunyari ginagawa mo na siya consistently. Yun yung napansin ko din. And then lastly, you can study and analyze your favorite artists, or maybe favorite movie, favorite TV series, or book. So gamitin mo yon to create your own art and to find your own art style. So there are a lot of resources available. So YouTube is there, Pinterest is there for resources. Skillshare, I actually use this. Alam ko na madaming mga vloggers na sponsored by Skillshare, and they usually have like a free 3-month trial period. So I used that one before I started digital art. So nag-binge watch ako ng daming Skillshare videos to help me grow my digital art, or at least yung para mag-learn ako. quickly. And then another resource I'd like to use is zlive.org. So sa zlive, it's free.
Mhm.
Alam kong illegal na siya. I think it's free. So I use this to get a lot of things. So pakita ko na lang. You can have like, you can download a lot of digital tutorials or digital books. So parang, ay, sorry, di man nakikita yung screen ko,
Ito,
no?
i-remove ko. Ayan.
Sige, nakita ko na din. So, wait. So, for me, I use it also to find some resources. So, makikita niyo ang dami kong stuff.
Mm.
So, I sometimes also check classical art. So, mga sargent, mga ganyan. Feeling saucy. so,
Rembrandt,
so,
mga
parang different things. Parang para makaintindi ka how they make art. Even there are like a lot of art books available here, especially if you're a fan of Disney. Ang daming mga art books. And one of my favorite art books to check is yung hindi Frozen. Chok. Wait lang Si Tangled. Because I think it's quite
ang cute
similar
nga
to,
niya.
yes, it's quite similar to dun sa art. At least yung colors is something na like ko. Pati mahilig din ako sa mga parang fantasy. So I use a lot of or I at least read a lot of art mediums kasi syempre for inspiration also. So yan, madami kayong pwedeng i-check na mga resources online for you to grow and study. Ayan. Okay na, mag-share na ulit ng screen.
Ayan, okay na.
Okay, wala namang questions dito, no? So, yan, I'll just explain a bit yung sa mga honing your skills. So basics that I mentioned in the previous slide. So for me, what entails basics are one, body proportions, and number two is yung color theory. So of course, yung body proportions is yung how you create or how you draw the body. Kasi even though you're not a professional artist, even as a normal person looking at art, makikita mo agad kung kunyari hindi maganda yung body proportion. Because sanay na tayo kung what a normal body proportion looks like. So it's very important, especially if you're creating art or you're doing 2D or 3D digital painting, is that you get the body proportions right. So isa ito sa mga kailangan mong aralin if you as a basic. Another is yung color theory. So yung how colors are complementary to each other, kailangan mo din siyang aralin for your art to really go to life, or at least yung makikita mo talaga na maganda siya. Kasi as you can see, so makikita mo nga na yung color theory here. For example, ito, siya, very limited yung palette niya, but it really works well together because hindi siya complementary. It's more of nasa same size siya. So mga purple, reds are all working together. So it really isa to sa mga kailangan talaga din as a basic part of your skill. You have to really understand it. Even hindi naman super professionally. Basta alamin mo lang siya para maka-work siya with your art.
Kung ano yung mga shades na pagsasama-sama.
So kung gusto mo ng cheat code, ang ginagawa ko dyan is I use resources because usually even in movies, especially or even in TV series, ano ba yung sino nga pala yung magaling na si Wes Anderson is one dominant I think example. Siya parang lahat ng works niya has some form of color theory. Wait lang, movie. Ano ba? Ano ba yung pinaka niya? Sikat niya. Tinan niyo, 'di ba? Siya it has yung color theory niya is there. So alam mo na siya 'yon. And
red,
may color
yellow,
composition, yes. So it's very important in your work na i-understand mo how colors will do for your artwork. So yan, important yan. So yun yung mga I think the basics na kailangan mong alamin.
So, part siya ng branding mo, no?
Correct. That's also part of your branding as well. So, parang if you're just starting, I think just focus on these two first, and then you can probably go learn the rest. Pero ito talaga yung I think fundamentally itong dalawa. Kailangan mo. So, in terms of advance, so of course pag kunyari super galing mo na, pwede ka nang tumingin about perspectives or art compositions. So, art compositions I think is yung tulad ng rule of thirds or incorporating background and foreground in your artwork. So, hindi lang siya plain na hindi ka na lang gumagamit ng plain background. You're already using yung environment to make your art speak for you. So I think ito, let's say, di ba to usually portrait lang si Loish. If we go to Hey Kala, which is my favorite artist ko. So you can see na siya, may composition na yung gawa niya. So hindi lang siya isang tao, for example. Ang nakikita ko lagi sa work ni Hey Kala is she likes to yung going miniaturized yung mga tao niya. And she lets objects around it work for the for
Ang ganda.
no,
Not
very
your
whimsical.
Oo.
Tingnan niyo kung ilan na yung kanyang followers. 1.3 million. But she's very, very good. So, yun nga. Yung composition ng work mo, I think this is about medyo rule of thirds. Nito yung focal point niya. Tapos the rest is background. So, of course, this is advanced na. Don't expect na if you're starting, you're gonna do like this. Yun nga. Focus ka na muna sa mga simple things. So, pag kunyari typography, you use simple words muna. Wala na muna masyadong extra items in the background, pwedeng plain na work lang. Or pag kunyari, pag starting ka pa lang, portrait muna. Huwag ka na muna problema sa mga background. Yan. So, yun yung sa advanced. Any questions muna or go lang?
May question si Jan, pero hindi related dyan sa... And eto, Isa, how much pag-draw or paint? Can you give a range?
Later. Pwede kong siyang later ko sasabihin kung paano mo, ma-cover naman natin siya. Yes. Yun yung last part ng presentation is about commission. So, doon natin makikita kung how you're gonna price your art. Okay. Sige. Mag-antay siya kamo. So, yung next, yung the tip that I also gave earlier was yung understanding the app. So, for me, it's Procreate. So, you can easily search YouTube or even Skillshare. Madaming tutorials yan, how to use Procreate. So, for me, when I started also using Procreate, I watched maybe 3-4 videos. Basta ang dami kong pinanood para lang maintindihan ko kung paano siya gamitin. Because, of course, you have to learn it and to make it work for you. Lalo na yung mga effects that you wanted to make. Or at least, kunwari, gusto mo glowy effect. Hindi mo naman siya magagawa pag hindi mo alam. So, yung mga ganon, madaming resources online for you to check. And I guess si Bardo Brush, ayan, makikita nyo, halos tinapos ko yung kanyang tutorial. So, yan, madami namang resources. But it's one thing also to learn yung drawing app mo. And Procreate is, I think, the most popular one right now. So, siya yung pinakamadaming tutorials online. Okay, next is so mga references. So again, artists use a lot of references. So it can come from movies, like this one. This is from The King. Games, TV series, books, ang dami mong pwedeng kunan na references. So you can use references as a form of color composition or for you to be inspired by color composition. So for me, nung first time, nag-try akong maghanap ng color palette. Naghanap ako madami sa Pinterest yung what speaks for me in terms of color. Tapos doon ako nag-focus. So for me, I usually use muted colors, pero muted earthy colors. So hindi ako masyadong nagpa-pastel colors. It's mostly green, brown, or yung mga ganun. So, yan. You can use a lot of references online or especially Pinterest. Pag kunyari gusto mong mag-isip, ano ba yung gusto kong picture or ano ba yung gusto kong maging itsura ng artwork ko. You can find a lot of references online for this.
Mm.
So, tingin-tingin lang ako ng mga stuff. Ang downside is parang matatempt ka biglang bumili ng mga gamit-gamit pag nakita mo siya. So, yun. And
Or sa
then,
Etsy din, 'di ba, puwede kang kumuha sa
I think. Oo, madami naman. You can actually use artists na idol, yung mga idol artists mo or
mm,
artists that you look up to. Pwede mo silang gamitin din as references. For example, yun yung gamitin mo as inspiration for your art. Not
mm,
necessarily you're gonna copy the whole thing. Copy mo lang yung one little thing that you like about them doing their art, which is what I did also with mine when I started.
mm,
So, another thing to use references is yung mga poses. So, syempre, again, since yun nga, hindi siya all in your mind. You have to use references to make at least good art or at least something that is accurate in terms of, for me, yung drawing a human being.
mm,
So, dami kong chine-check online kung paano. Lalo na pag ma-post yung gawa ko. So, so yung lastly is yung practicing consistently and then studying art. So we can focus maybe on these two. So si Heikala and si Kellogg's Loops because for me these are mostly sila din yung main inspiration ko for my art. So um yun yung I think also one of the common misconception is that parang yung art style mo is original. No, it isn't. Usually it's inspired by other people,
mm,
other artists that you look up to. So for me, yung for example si Heikala, I like yung part na muted colors din siya. So for me, uy, gusto ko ng mga muted colors. Sige, gusto ko din ng ganyan. So,
mm,
not necessarily I copied everything from her, pero I just used one aspect of how she does her work and then nilagay ko din sa artwork ko. I
mm,
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Yun naman talaga. Any art or any art form is not really an original idea. Parang lagi naman may inspiration yan from something else. Si
mm,
Kellogg's Loops naman, I like yung how yung ini-incorporate niya yung parang blush or at least yung redness sa human skin. So gustong-gusto ko yung part nun sa kanya. Like this one, if you can see the hands, yan, mga ano ko, parang wow, ang ganda tingnan. Sige, gusto ko
Oo,
din yan.
parang totoo, parang strong
mm,
skin.
So for me, dun nagpo-put to life yung work mo. So
Mm,
parang for me, okay, this is a nice thing to take note of. So yun yung ano din. Yan yung mga things that I try to incorporate in my own art. Again, it's not really copying the whole thing, but you're copying or at least taking note of some things that you like about your favorite artist and then putting it in your own work.
mm.
Yan.
Naniniwala ako dun sa inspiration kasi for sure, 'yan sina Hekala din, nakuha din nila yung theme nila from other
Mm-mm.
artists as well.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So, ano naman yun. So, yun nga, parang you're just looking for inspiration from other people and it's very normal. So, wag mong i-pressure yung sarili mo na parang, ay, ba't wala akong original idea?
Mm.
Wala ganun. There's no original idea. Charot, ganun. Okay. So, may questions ba? I think, yan,
Hmm,
after na to,
yeah.
mag-ano na tayo sa building your own page. Okay. So since wala na, let's go to the next part, which is building your own page. So when I say page, it can be Twitter page, Instagram page,
Mm,
YouTube. But for me, this works. Yung sasabihin ko ngayon, it's mostly for Instagram because that's the main page I use to show my art. So, yan lang. First and foremost is that you have to identify your art form. So this is different from art style. When I say art form, it's either the ones that I showed you in the earlier slide. It's either 2D painting, 3D painting, typography, pixel art. So yun yung art form mo. Of course, if you want to again make a living out of this, you have to be consistent because yun yung hinahanap ng customers mo. Yung consistency sa artwork mo.
mm,
So, for me, yung art form ko is, again, 2D digital painting. So, doon ako nag-focus. And for you, it could be other things. So, it's important for you to find out first kung ano yung gusto mong gawin and ano yung na-enjoy mong gawin ba.
mm.
So next one is, if of course you're building a page, you have to decide on the name. So pinakamaganda is of course short and sweet. So hindi pwede yung mahirap
Mahaba.
pag kunyari super duper haba kasi paano ka maano, parang mahirap tandaan ng
Maalala.
mga tao. Yes. So it's best if you use something very short if you can. So some people, they use their names or yung totoong pangalan nila, and then they just append art or draw or sketch. So it's up to you. But of course, some people, they also use an alias. So for me, I guess yung sa akin, for looking back, siguro mas magandang gumamit na lang ako ng alias. Kasi hindi ako ganun ka comfortable selling, I mean at least selling my art. Parang mas maganda na meron akong alias para meron akong difference between my personal and then my work life. Parang ganon. Yun.
Privacy.
Siguro kakapal yung mukha ko lalo pag ganun. Pag kunyari iba yung ginamit kong pangalan. Ganun. Pero yun, if for you, if you want, you can use an alias. Depende. Pero for me, yeah, I should have started with that. Pero hindi na ako nagpalit. Ganun. Hato. So art style and consistency. So it's very important, especially if you want to build a brand. If, for example, you're just doing this recreationally or as a hobby, doesn't matter. Sige, go lang kung ano yung mga gusto mong i-drawing. Pero if you really want to build your page and if you want to build your brand, you really have to have an art style. And you really have to be consistent about it. Kasi, of course, ito yung mga na-identify mismo ng mga tao when they see your art. And unfortunately, ito din yung isa sa mga first few hurdles that people struggle with. Kasi ako din, nag-struggle ako super struggle with this when I was starting. So, yun.
About
So,
sa
again,
consistency, sorry Isa, doon sa consistency,
sure.
how frequent ka ba dapat mag-post? For example, sa platform mo, sa Instagram.
Sa Instagram, I think maybe twice a week, unfortunately. Kailangan, yung algorithm na lang ngayon is about engagements and consistency ng posts. So I think around 2 to 3 times a week is yung part na I think suggested. But when I say when I say consistency here, it's more of yung how you draw and how you present your art.
Okay.
So, in terms of engagement, yes, yun yung part na yan. Pero dito is yung kung paano mga how you show your art to others or how you build your page. So, I guess yung next slide, ayan o. So, again, yung kay Hekala, as you can see, medyo, parang pag kunya nakita mo na kagad yung page niya, alam mong siya kagad yun. Another one is itong si Vanessa Gillings. I think she also uses watercolor, Vanessa. So, again, yun nga, isang tingin mo palang boom, alam mo na siya. So, she, parang, sorry. Basta yung ginagawa niyang ganyan, yung artwork niya, either animals, and then it's very soft as well. Tapos ang dami din part na botanical art yung background niya. So, again, if, yung parang pagkita mo kagad, alam mo na okay, siya to, si Vanessa to. So, there is consistency in their work. So, I think most, if not all of the famous artists or digital artists right now, they're all consistent usually with their work. Maybe siguro small percent, maybe 10% is hindi, pero most, you have to be consistent. Unfortunately, but ganun ang buhay. Another example is si Prinsomnia. So I think sa kanya, yung art style niya is well, at least I think yung focus niya is yung colors. So yung color palette niya, I think, is yung pinkish, violetish, pati dark background. So again, there is something na dapat na identify ka agad ng mga clients mo or potential clients mo with your page. So it's very important.
So kanya-kanya din siyang niche, no?
Kanya-kanya siya talaga. Yes. And ayun nga, kaya nga very, very important na malaman mo talaga kung ano yung sa'yo. I mean, again, it's only important if you're going to market your work. If not, then pwede ka naman lang. Chill lang.
Yung mga hobbies mo, no?
Kaya nga nag-start din ako talaga na parang growth lang talaga. Kasi nga, I didn't want to pressure myself into saying na, okay, kailangan meron ako kaagad na brand. Hindi. Nag-start din ako ng walang art style. And it just so happens na nung nag-churn out ako ng dami-daming works ko, nakita ko na, okay, ito pala siya. Ito yung gusto kong gawin. Ito yung gusto kong style. So, ayan. So, yung mga tips to finding your art style. So, first and foremost is make a lot of art. Hindi mo siya pwedeng i-shortcut na parang after two drawings lang, okay, meron na akong art style. No. Unfortunately, no. So you really have to make a lot of art. You really have to grow first before you really find your art style. And of course, this also changes. It can really change. Kahit man, let's say, na mayroon ka ng specific art style, pwedeng after a while, ay, gusto ko ng bago. Or maybe, gusto ko mag-pastel colors next. Malay natin, we don't really know. So, another thing is you study yung other artists' work and incorporate things you like in your own art. Again, yun nga, ang ginawa ko din nung una is I studied a lot of digital artists or artists that I find very, yung parang nag-resonate sa akin mismo sa artwork nila. And then I incorporated those things in my art. Not necessarily lahat. Only a few things para naman hindi masabi ng ibang tao din na parang, ay, kinopy mo lang yan. Copy-paste lang. Ganun. And then, lastly, pwede kang mag-try ng mga digital exercises available in online classes. So, I guess I can link one. This is my copy. Ay. Teka. So, marami namang mga resources din, but it's mostly paid. So, you can, again, yung sa Skillshare, meron naman dyan mga free coupon codes. Use those. And then, like, for example, this is an example of how you can draw, or at least how you can find your art style. So, itong Skillshare na to is yung, it lets you draw one picture in 6 different ways. So, again, dito, na-realize ko din kung ano yung mga types or styles na gusto ko. And then, dun ko lang siya in-incorporate. So, yun yung example. You can find a lot of it online naman. You just know you just really need to know kung saan mo hahanapin. So, I can put this in, saan ko to pwedeng i-post? Hindi ko alam. Send ko na lang sa'yo later.
Sige. Tapos i-add ko sa comments.
Yes. Sige. So, yun. Dumaan din ako sa ganyan. Nag-try din ako ng mga digital exercises just to find kung ano yung what works for me. So, yun. Hindi niyo nakikita yung ganong progress online. Pero, yun. People go through that when they start.
Kasi ang nakikita lang nila is yung finished product. Pag na-post mo na.
Parang tapos na. Tapos yung pala, ilang araw mong ginawa. Yung ganon. So, ganon siya talaga. Okay. So, ayun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, your style may change as you go along. So, normal siya. So, for me, I started, maybe siguro may iteration ako ng mga 3, 4. Mga 3 art styles or at least, mga versions ng mga art styles na nagustuhan ko. So, it's normal. And people go through that. So, hayaan mo na lang yung sarili mo na to grow with your art and to grow with your work as well.
And in the future, di ba, pwedeng magbago ulit yung art style mo. Depende din kasi talaga sa inspiration mo eh. And sa personality mo. Kasi parang related din siya sa personality mo. May reflection siya ng personality mo, di ba?
Correct. So, it really depends. Siguro may mga tao na hindi talaga nag-change ng art style. But I think there are a lot na parang still go through that evolution. That's true. Okay, next. Ito yung exciting part. Joke lang. Expanding your reach. Ito na yung matrabahong part na not really necessarily drawing skill, but more of understanding yung social media app. So for Instagram, of course, as you know, hashtags was yung part para makadiscover ka ng mga bagong content. But right now, it's not really the main thing. So you really have to understand yung algorithm of your social media. So for Instagram right now, I think it values yung posting, yung how you post regularly, and yung engagement mo with the other people. So for example, if your engagement is yung comments dun sa work mo, or yung shares, or yung save dun sa work mo, doon ngayon nag-thrive yung yung posts mo sa Instagram. So it changes a lot. So you really have to be aware if you really want to expand your reach. So another thing that you can do if you really want to put your work out there is of course to do fan art, kasi fan art is of course people where people can you can access certain communities, like for example if you want to create Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Studio Ghibli, you access other communities when you do fan art. So this is another way for you to expand your reach. So
Mm-mm.
maganda siguro na healthy combination of original work and fan art yung gamitin mo for your work. Para lang makita din ng mga tao kung what your original work looks like and versus what your fan art looks like.
Exposure din siya, no? Yung fan art.
It's a way to really expose yourself then. Kasi, yun nga, the hashtag itself is of course not just art related, it's related to the community.
Mm-mm.
So, yung sa akin nga, yung recent ko is I did a Rurouni Kenshin or Samurai X fan art. Kasi, nanonood ako nung nag-binge watch kami.
Himura.
Sorry. So, yung next is naman yung art challenges. So, yung art challenges online, these are, I think, created by the art community mostly. So, this can range from draw this in your style. So, for example, another artist created an original work and then gumawa siya ng parang contest or parang, you can draw this in your style. So, I guess I can show you what it looks like. So, ano siya? This is, wait. So, yung mga draw this in your style. So, what that does is for your work to be exposed by other artists. So, for example, yung isang artist na dinraw mo yung kanyang work is has a following of like maybe 20,000. So, ang ginagawa minsan ng mga artists na to is if you draw this in their style, or if you draw their work in their style, they will show this to their page. So, yung makaka-access ka dun sa mga fans ng work nila. So, ito yung another way for you to gain or to reach a larger audience ba. Another is yung mga monthly challenges. So, I think the most popular one is yung Inktober, which happens during October. So, ano siya? It's a month-long challenge, and then you create yung art based on specific themes. So again, because the hashtag is being used by a lot of people, doon din na-discover yung work mo. So again, yung next is yung art style consistency. So again, yung how consistent your artwork is will still build your page, because of course, if they like what they see in one or two or three works, they're going to, of course, follow you, and then maybe he or she will be a potential client in the future. And then again, engagement is very important. So commenting, sharing, liking, and saving the posts will really drive your posts up in Instagram.
Grabe yung sa Instagram, Isa. Kasi dati akala ko, hashtag lang, mag-work na. Akala mo mag-picture na siya dun sa hashtag. Pero di ba alam, sobrang daming gumagamit ng hashtag na yun, di ba?
Oo. Actually, a year ago, ganun pa siya. Pero iniba talaga nila ngayon. Unfortunately, I think a lot of artists right now are also disliking yung mga changes ngayon sa Instagram. Especially na naglagay sila ng parang promotion. Yung magabayad ka for your work to reach a lot of people. Because, yun nga, ano siya parang imbis na mag-grow organically yung work mo, or at least yung makikita ng ibang tao organically yung work mo, you really, some people, they have to pay. For me, I tried it, I think once or twice, pero parang, it's not really worth it. For me, it's not worth it. Kasi parang, magbabayad pa ako.
Kasi parang dun sa promotion, ang naisip ko naman dyan, what if yung ma-reach nun is not necessarily yung specific niche na tinatry mo, di ba? Na audience na tinatry mo. So, parang, you have to really, sabi mo nga, really study yung algorithm ni Instagram.
Totoo. Kaya nga, I think, recently, I think a lot of artists struggle talaga with using Instagram. And
Mm-mm.
some people opt to use Twitter because I think mas forgiving ata si Twitter. Pero I haven't really worked on Twitter. And yan. So, wala akong masabi masyadong comment about that.
Mm-mm.
So, yun. Okay. So, next, ito na. Ito na yung last part ng presentation ko. So, it's about commission and other ways to earn money. So, let's say na you already practice your drawing skills. You already have a consistent brand. You already have a page. So, preparing your commissions is, of course, another thing. So, you have to prepare some forms, which is free naman. There are I use mostly free tools when I create my or when I created my terms of service and yung form ko for people to fill up. So yeah. So yun, yung ways to earn money are actually different for digital art. So firstly, you either do commissions. So this can be private or commercial. So for me, I'm mostly doing private ones. So hindi ko kino-commercialize yung ano ko, yung work ko. I think usually commercial ones are the ones that yung mga super sikat na mga artists talaga. And they can provide licenses to their work. So for me, I only tried private. Another way is for donations. So I think yung isa sa mga popular app is yung ka-OFE. So people post it and then they ask for, if you want to support me, you can just donate $1, ganon. So this one I haven't
Ah,
really tried.
yung buy
Mhm.
me coffee. Yung
Yes, that
oo.
one.
Ay, gusto ko din yung idea actually. Hindi ko pa siya na-try pero nakita ko na yung website nila.
Mm-mm.
Pwede kang mag $1, $2, gano'n.
Yes. So yun nga, yung iba, yun yung tinry nila. But for me, I haven't really tried it.
Hmm.
So, pero it's still something that you can think about if you want to.
Mm.
Especially, for example, if you're really putting a lot of content, let's say siguro madami kang binibigay na tutorials and tips, then maybe you can really ask for donations kasi you're giving your content for free. So,
Mm.
why not, no? Parang to show appreciation, you can just ask for money or ask for coffee. Yun nga.
Mm.
So, another thing is yung subscriptions. And again, yung most popular one is Patreon. So again, this is for those that really are, again, consistent kung ano yung ginagawa mo. So pwede mong i-post yung creative process mo. Pwede mong i-post yung behind the scenes. So some people, they use this to give extra content.
Mm.
So they use subscriptions for that. So
Ang parang
yes.
sa Patreon ata is kung subscribe ka, you have this ability to see yung exclusive content ng artist. Tama ba?
Yes, correct.
Mm. Okay.
Yung parang ano siya, privatized siya, na parang ikaw lang makakita. Ganun. So
It's
yeah,
nice.
I think sa mga well-known artists, this is the one that gives them a steady stream of income because of
Mm.
course this is a monthly basis, I think. So yun, ito yung isa sa mga ways din. Another is about merch. So for example, if I want to sell my stuff physically, I can maybe put it in bags, stickers, or cards. It's also possible. Of course, it also has additional costs. Pero again, it's another way to earn money. If you think
Mm.
na yung art style mo or yung artwork mo will benefit putting it into a merchandise.
Mm.
So again, commissions and any other type of hustle takes work and dedication. So of course, if you really want to do this, think hard,
Mm.
think hard about it, and then yun, just have the right expectations when you start. Kasi it's quite different when you create art for yourself versus when you create art for others. It's really different. Yun. And next. So ito, I think this is the question of Janjan earlier. So
Mm.
pricing and knowing your worth. So first and foremost is do not wag mong do not sell your art for cheap
Mm.
because it sets a bad expectation or it sets a bad expectation from other clients when you sell your work and then pag kunyari tinaasan mo bigla yung price mo. So
Mm.
ito yung nakita kong tip from also other artists and other videos about commission. So ensure na pag naglagay ka ng pricing is you set it based on certain factors. So for me, ito yung mga 3 items that I use to set my price. So first is yung set a baseline price. If you're already working, you can already use your current hourly salary. If you're not yet working, maybe use yung na yung minimum hourly wage mo sa country mo, for example, as a baseline price. So second is kailangan mo din siyang aralin or kailangan mo makuha yung statistic of how many hours you spent in the art process. So other than doing yung research, other than doing the art itself, you have to also include yung time you spent doing the research or conceptualizing your art doon sa hours spent mo with the art process. So ang nifty thing about Procreate is when you do art, it gives you the statistic kung how many hours you did on a piece. So yun yung magandang So this one you really don't have to, if you're using Procreate, di mo na kailangan siyang isipin masyado. You only have to maybe consider add yung hours spent doing the research itself and yung conceptualizing. Pero yun, nandun siya. I think, wait, let me check kung saan mo siya makikita sa Procreate. Wait,
Ang galing. Ang natuwa ko dun sa i-base siya sa hourly rate mo. Kasi
nice.
kasi inisip before tayo mag-start ng interview, ng initial interview, 'di ba? Inisip ko na yun parang paano kaya nagse-set ng price? Parang ano ba, nasa size ba 'yan? Nung work or nasa details ba 'yan? So okay din na i-base mo siya sa hourly work mo kasi syempre na yun yung most valuable na bagay na meron tayo, which is time, 'di ba? Hindi mo na mababalik yan eh. So and tama din na mag-base ka ng baseline price kasi ayaw mo namang bumaba dun kasi in the future work mo, parang doon ka na magbe-base. So
Pati syempre, talaga yan, imbis na nag-chill-chill ka, tapos nanonood ka, ito yung ginagawa mo. So, you really have to get paid for what you do. So, you really, kaya nga yan, do not sell yourself short, especially with this one. Huwag kang mag-start. Huwag mo sabihin na $1. No.
No.
sayang yung effort mo, di ba? So, yun,
sorry advice ko lang din siguro sa mga consumers natin. Wag naman natin masyadong layuan yung tawad natin pag bumibili tayo ng art. Kasi syempre, a lot of hours or days and weeks of hard work yan first. And yung inspiration naman, hindi yan basta-basta pumapasok sa mga artists.
Correct.
Same sa, naalala ko lang, same sa books. Kasi sabi ko sa kanila, dun sa mga friends ko lang, huwag na kayong bumili ng pirated na books. Kasi sabi ko, yung mga authors na yan, it takes months or sometimes years para ma-publish yung book nila. And you're just gonna download it a pirated copy, di ba? Which is not nice naman. Kasi pinaghirapan nila yun. Same din sa mga artists. So, let's support our artists, guys.
True. Support. Ano yan? So, yung, nakita ko na siya sa Procreate. So, you have settings, and then you go to Canvas information, and then you go to statistics. So, it shows you how many hours you've done using that work. So, again, yan. So, yun yung magandang way to price your art. So, you set your baseline price, and then count mo how many hours you do, and then times mo lang yan. Yun yung pinakamadaling way. And then, of course, do not forget to include yung miscellaneous costs mo. So, for example, for me, I use a paid app, so Procreate. And maybe there are other tools that you use, but for me, it's just Procreate. I don't have any physical materials because, again, ang binibigay ko lang is yung digital, yung digital picture lang. So, that's the only cost that I have to, pati yung mismong iPad itself.
Isa may question ako. Paano pag may tumawad? Paano pag sobrang baba ng tawad? Ano sinasabi mo? Sinasabi mo ba na based yan sa hourly rate or with computation?
Luckily, wala pang tumatawad. Wala pa naman. Pero for me siguro hindi ko alam. Most likely baka mag-turn down ako pag may tumawa. Parang
Pag
ayoko na,
sobrang
sige
layo,
wag na
ano?
lang. Kasi
Parang
naman
hindi worth
no,
it
di
ng
worth
sakit ng
it.
ulo.
But again, this is hindi naman siya for me my main source of income.
Mm.
So may other passive income sources pa ako. So for me, kung ayaw mo, di wag. Ganyan,
Oo.
ganun yung feeling ko na parang, sige, wag na lang. Ganun.
Gusto ko yung sinabi mo na don't sell yourself short, 'di ba?
Mm.
Kasi pinaghirapan
Oo.
mo yun.
Mm. Pati parang yung growth mo ba, parang hello, daming hours you spent trying to
Mm.
grow your art itself and how you learn. Syempre, 'di ba? Yun yung binabayaran din ng mga tao. So,
True.
ayan. Ayan. Usually, yan lang. Ganyan lang ako. Pero again, pwede naman din magbago yung price mo. Of course, if you get popular, very, very popular, pwede mong ibahin yung price mo. Yan. So, of course, it's up to you. But again, this is just yung pinaka-basic guideline on how to set your price. Okay. So, next is yung identifying the types of art you're going to commission. So, for me, when I say yung types of art is more of yung types of illustration. So, for me, I think I grouped it into 4. So, I can show you next. Mag-next tayo dito. Ito yung makikita niyo yung terms of service and yung form ko. So yung sa akin, I grouped my art into four types. So one is yung bust and shoulders up. Next is yung half body and waist up. And then yung next is yung knee length and full body. And then merong others. So other people would like, siguro may iba na gustong icons, logos, patterns, or sticker packs. I put it in another in another category. Just in case lang kung kunyari merong iba na gusto. So, ganyan ko ginroup siya. And then I price them based on, of course, kung ano yung complexity. For example, of course, if it's just bust and shoulders up, mas madali siyang i-draw versus yung something na half body and waist up. So, yun. Yun yung different pricing, of course. Different different hours on how I did it as well. Depende din siya sa complexity. Another thing is, of course, pag kunyari naglagay ka ng detailed backgrounds, like for example, if, for example, gusto mo ng mas maganda yung background mo, mas may additional, additional fee that you have to give because, of course, it's different when you're just creating a plain background. So for me, it starts at 5. And then, again, additional characters. Of course, pwedeng gusto ng ibang tao, family portrait, or dalawa sila. Siyempre, hindi naman pwedeng $15 lang yan, flat. No. So, siyempre, depende siya. Additional siya per type of illustration. So, yun yung types of art. So, again, it could be different. Of course, if you're creating typography, it's probably a different category itself. But for me, yun yung types of art that I commissioned before. Okay, so next is yung creating yung terms of service and yung commission order form. So I used yung mga free resources here, free apps. It's mostly Google. So I use Google Form, Google Sheets, and then Linktree. Linktree is just to organize yung mga sites mo, especially when you're using social media. It's either, you can only, I think, post one link in your bio. So I use that to at least organize ko na yung mga links ko. Ay, dito pala. So, makikita nyo to. So, meron akong order form. Meron din akong commission queue just for the clients to see if kung ano na yung status ng ginagawa ko for them. And then, some of my other sites. So, yun yung things that to consider, at least things to use when you're gonna create your commissions. So, okay. So, yung content ng terms of service is usually yung terms of service itself, which is, again, let's see here. Let's go back. So usually ano lang siya, anything na you would like to state as something na in your work. So for example, for me, I have a right to decline commissions. So kunyari, tingin ko hindi ko na siya kayang gawin, I will say no. And
Mm-mm.
then for me, since this is a private commission and it's not really licensed, so I retain all of my copyrights over my own commissioned artwork. And I also have the right to post the commissioned artwork online in my portfolio or somewhere else. So again, ito lang yung mga agreement natin as client and customer.
Mm-mm.
So you as a customer, pwede kang, yun, dun ko i-agree na you can upload yung commissioned artwork. And for me, yun nga, you may not remove the watermark. So usually when I create commissions, di ko naman siya nalagay ko lang siya sa tabi. Hindi siya tulad dito na nilalagay ko sa gitna minsan. So for me, if you see my work, usually nilalagay ko siya sa gitna. When original work, usually nilalagay ko siya somewhere sa gitna. Pero if it's commissioned, I usually just put it on the side para naman hindi siya epal masyado. Pero again, sinasabi ko na do not remove it. And of course, again, since private lang yung commission ko, you cannot use it for commercial purposes. So you cannot put it in, for example, a merchandise, like a bag or a sticker, and then sell it yourself. No, hindi
Mm-mm.
pwede. So, meron akong mga general terms. So, yun, number one, prices are subject to change based on demand. So, again, pwede ka naman mag-change ng price if you think na, let's say, na dumadami na yung customers mo and nakikita mo na lumalaki na yung demand mo. You can change it. So, next part of the terms of service is yung will draw or won't draw. So, again, this is for you and the client to know kung ano yung comfortable ka na i-draw when you do commissions. So for me, ang will draw and won't draw ko is I will draw real people, original characters, fan art, and pets and plants. Again, yung mga not draw ko is nakalagay na dyan. So anything offensive, I don't draw.
Mm-hmm.
Again, may mga iba naman, it depends on the artist itself, but this is yung sa akin.
Mm-mm.
And next. So again, yung payment method also is here. So you can either use PayPal or other forms of payment. So I also put it there. And again, yung last part is yung process. So for me, importante na ilagay mo yung process for other people or for clients to know kung paano mo gagawin yung art. So for me, yung aking process is basically commission details, yung sketch, yung flat color draft, and yung final output.
Mm-mm.
So each main part of the process is something na sinesend ko dun sa client. So again, this one, depende siya sa'yo. I think some people, they just send yung final output na mismo. But for me, ako kasi, parang if you want your revisions to be minimal, you have to ensure na yung each part of the process nakikita din ng client. So for example, I started giving the sketch, and then pag okay na yung client with the size and the sketch, pag okay na siya, or sign off na, quote unquote, sign off, punta na ako dun sa next part, which is yung flat color draft. So this is yung color composition itself. So wala pa tong shading, walang anything, walang details. Ito I guess yung sinasabi, ito yung part na parang ugly part of the process because it doesn't really look very nice. Pero for me, it's important na makita din ng ibang tao kasi kunyari hindi nila gusto yung color, kailangan kong i-change. And it's very hard to change it pag kunwari yung basic color mo, mali na kaagad. So for me, sinesend ko din siya. Tapos parang kung okay na, okay, doon na ako sa sketches, sa details, and sa shading, yung final output. So ito yung sinesend ko sa kanila is both in PNG and JPG. So ito din nakalagay dito kung ano yung process in terms of payment. So kunyari, hindi ka pa nagbigay ng payment sa akin, hindi ko pa siya isa-start. Kasi I would ang dami ko nang nabasa din online about yung mga clients from hell na parang they commissioned you and then sinimulan mo na tapos yung pala hindi sila magbabayad sa'yo. So mas magandang at least 50% upfront they paid you before starting any work. Okay, yung third part is ito yung setting expectations din. So for me, since I also work full-time, nakalagay dito sa akin na I take 1 to 4 weeks to complete depending on my workload. Kasi you have to consider na you have to do housework, you have to do your work, your main work. So kailangan mag-set ka ng expectation na okay, I mean, on top of this, I can probably do it in 1 to 4 weeks. So
Mm-mm.
if I also put here na pag kunyari hindi ko kaya within the time period, I will still give you an update. Kasi of course, they're paying you to create art for them. So as with any project, even yung mga project natin na ginagawa, especially sa IT, you really have to give regular updates. So which is also the reason why meron akong tinatawag na commission queue. So at least ito, makikita ng mga tao, ay, oops. Yan, kung ano yung ginagawa ko na with their work. So nakalista naman dyan. Again, it's up to you how you're going to do it. But for me, that's how I do it. And then ito, number 4, yung, I think, ikaw yung nagtanong nito kanina, no, Shida, yung revisions.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, for me, meron akong 3 minor revisions. Anything more, mag-incur na ng additional fees.
Mm-mm.
So, yun yung terms of service ko. And then if they agree, then we can go to the order form itself. So, yan. So, yung order form, of course, nakalagay doon yung pricing, andun din yung client details, andun din yung commission details, and you also have to input yung references because ang hirap pag wala. Ako nga, ang ano ko dyan is the more references you give me, the better. Especially, for example, gusto mo ng specific theme or what, even though if it's not a portrait, parang mag-send ka na, gusto ko ng ito yung color theme ko. Okay, that would help. That would really help a lot. So for yan, nakalagay naman dito, reference pictures, inspirations, mood boards, or color palettes, send mo na. Mas magandang sobra kaysa kulang.
Tama, oo.
So, yan din nakalagay dito. Yun, and meron din akong nakalagay na privacy and posting preferences. So, for example, if you're not really comfortable with me sharing the commission work online, pwede mo naman ilagay dito. So for me, upload and tag me in the description, upload but don't tag me or keep it private. I put here the option for you to pick. For example, kung ayaw mong i-share sa iba, okay lang, sige. So yun lang yung content ko. Again, it could be more, it could be less. It's up to you. But for me, yan yung details ng commission ko. And my reference for that is Nadia Axel. So very informative. Meron siyang YouTube, I think 3-part YouTube about showing your references. So if you really are interested in creating your commissions already, you can refer to this. She also has a site here. This is also what I used when I created my own. And ano ba? So some commission tips, again, yun nga. Firstly, manage your workload. Kung tingin mo, at first, kaya mo lang ng isa, o di mag-isa ka na lang muna per month. And then, sabihin mo na lock na or close na yung commission queue mo because you really cannot handle it at that time. And then, another is to keep your clients up to date with their status of their commissions. So again, if you think na tatagal ka, it's better to tell your client upfront kasi I think they would understand it rather than yung parang i-ghost mo sila or hindi ka bigla magkaparamdam. So yun. Another is as with any other work, it's better if you set your time consistently to do your commissions. So for example, if you're going to do it after your work hours, maybe set 1 hour every day para naman makapagpahinga ka din tas hindi ka ma-overwhelm. So it's up to you. But yeah, it's better to manage your work. It's just like any other work basically. So treat it like kung paano ka nag-work itself. Kung nag-work ka na, treat it like another type of work. So kung paano mo minamanage yung sarili mo when you're doing your real work, do it as well here.
Grabe yung information ng terms of service and commission. Pero thank you sa information, Isa. Kasi for example, as a beginner, pag may nag-reach out sa'yo na I want you to do me some art pieces ganun. Without knowing yung terms of service, parang pwede ka kasi nilang maging demanding sila on your time,
correct.
sa price. So,
Yes.
might as well, i-set mo na yung standard mo before ka magbenta ng art pieces, di ba?
Correct. Oo. Kasi ang hirap din eh. Kasi you really have to set kung ano yung bebenta mo sa iba. And with that comes, yun nga, a lot of people are gonna ask you, I mean, di ba, kung kunyari, if you have like a client from hell, parang feeling ko pipigain ka niyan eh. Pero if you set your expectations already, if you set your terms, and if they agreed to the terms, then they really have no choice but to follow. I mean, let's say, kung kunyari man isusuka, which is hopefully hindi, pwede mo sabihin na I already put here my terms and conditions. You already accepted this as part of our agreement. Ganon. So, ano ka, hindi ka na liable, I think. So, yun. Pinaprotektahan mo rin sarili mo kasi sa ganyan.
Oo. And mahirap din kasi mag-overcommit kasi syempre sabi mo nga, may main work ka din. So, hindi mo din siya magagawa full-time.
Yes. So, you really have to set na parang, okay, ito lang yung kailangan kong gawin. Or, for me, I think, when I started, siguro yung lessons learned ko from that was I should have probably started ng maybe 1 or 2 lang per month. Kasi more than that, na-overwhelm na ako sobra. So it depends on, especially if you're starting, it's better to start with maybe 1 or 2 first, tapos get your footing from there. Maybe start with your friends kasi at least from them, kung kunyari may mga criticism sila or meron silang feedback, maybe it's easier to accept kasi friends mo sila eh. You will trust them with what they're saying. And then, dun mo na after that, pag kunyari tagang super comfortable ka na, i-publicize mo na siya for other people. So, it's up to you. So, yan. I think patapos na tayo. So, again, enjoy yung process. Kasi, commission, yun nga, if it's work, feeling ko mas stifle yung creativity mo. So, it's really important to enjoy the process. And if you think you're not enjoying it, then mag-take a break ka na muna. Then, just continue again when you feel like when you feel na renewed ka na and if you want to really create your work. Kasi it's really, lalo na pag kunyari ito is not really your work itself, magsasuffer yung work mo. I mean, I think it shows, lalo na, for me, I think it shows na pag kunyari hindi ko na-enjoy, it really is hard to do it consistently and it's really hard to do it regularly. So for me, kailangan na take a break, manage your workload, and again, enjoy yung process.
Refocus ka, syempre, magmuni-muni ka muna.
Oo. Kasi mahirap pag kunwari, yun nga, it's very common to have an art block or yung parang stuck ka, which is I think happens also even in ordinary work, yung parang uninspired ka or hindi ka makano. It's really common lalo na in a creative outlet like this. So, kailangan mo talagang i-manage yung sarili mo for that. So, I guess tapos na. Woo! Napapaos na rin ako.
Ang dami, sobrang informative, Issa. Thank you. Ang dami kong natutunan.
You're welcome.
Meron parang pahabol na tanong si Janjan. Na-try mo na ba to sell your artwork like Creative Fabrica? Yung gagawin nilang stock photo yung mga arts mo?
For me, no, I haven't. I haven't really tried. Again, I think kasi depende din siya sa type of art style na ginagamit mo. Like, for example, if you're into cute artworks, alam mo yung mga kawaii, wait, let's see. Meron akong mga examples ng cute art. Let's see, nag-sharing pa ba ako? So again, like for example, may mga cute art that works a lot better if it's a sticker and you can sell it as a sticker. So this one, you can probably commercialize it. Pero depende talaga din siya eh. I think typography is another thing that you can commercialize. It really is subjective kung ano yung type ng art mo. But for me, I haven't tried it. So hindi ko siya check.
Okay lang. Yung sa pala, Issa, regarding sa protecting your art pieces, how do you protect your artwork? Siyempre, pinaghirapan mo siya, di ba?
For me, wala naman akong
Kasi
yung watermark lang talaga.
I-download lang nila, tapos i-repost.
For me, lang, yung watermark lang talaga. That's one of the main things that you can do to protect your art. Again, kaya nga usually yung watermark ko, the ones that I post in Instagram are usually nasa nasa drawing itself. Kasi pag kunyari
Mm.
nilagay mo siya sa side, people can easily copy your work tapos wala na, i-crop
Crop
out na lang
lang.
nila yung art mo. Oo. So for me, I usually put it somewhere in the art, yung main character or main focal point of the art para at least
Mm.
mahirapan sila. Charot. Pag
Mm.
ika-crop nila, mahihirap. Hindi nila makukuha yung whole piece. So yun, ganun siya. I guess that's the only thing. Di pa naman ako ganun kasikat eh. So okay lang. Wala pa naman ata nagka-copy ng work ko.
Pag may nag-copy na ibig sabihin, ano na siya, good problem.
Nako. Maybe. Gaganon na ako. Wow. Baka anong pa matuwa pa ako na, wow, kinakopy na nila.
Thank you, may kumapi, mga ganun.
Baka nga
Oh,
mag-celebrate pa ako, joke.
promote mo na yung Instagram mo sa audience
Ayun.
natin.
So, ayun. So, yung art site or yung art page ko is Issa Ange Art. So, follow na lang kayo if you like. So, makikita nyo dito yung mga works ko. Yun lang.
Ayun, nilagay ko sa comments guys yung page yung Instagram ni Isa. So, follow niyo na lang, like and share. Ayan. Don't worry, wala kaming porsyento dun sa yung artwork ni Isa.
Uy, gusto ko ng kape. Joke lang.
Prime coffee pala yan. Isa, may mga gustong mag-thank you sa'yo. Ito, si Sir Ariel. I really learned a lot. Thank you, Sir Ariel, for watching.
Thank you po, Sir Ariel.
Ito, si Christine. Thank you. My kid got inspired and said she'll develop art
Good
style.
luck.
Thank you, Christine. Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
Ito.
Thank you, Christine.
Ito, kilala mo to.
Mali.
Happy client here. I have one art by Isa.
Wow.
Thank
you po.
Ito, sino po ba? Mayroon pa eh. Nasaan na ba yan? From Guada. This is too interesting.
Wow, thank you, Guada.
Ito, customer mo din, si Maxine.
Thank you, Maxine.
I bought one of Isa's artwork and I really love it.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you, Isa. Thank you.
Thank you, Shida. Thank you, OFE community. Thank you rin.
Overtime tayo.
Ay, sorry. Madaldal ba ako? Sorry.
Hindi, din very interesting din talaga yung topic. So, thank you sa time. Ang dami mong tinuro.
Okay. Welcome and then happy to share din kasi ako din madami din akong yung mga artists din na nag-share online freely. Sa kanila din ako natuto. So, just tawag doon, giving it forward na lang din.
Ayun, mga ka-OFE, dito na nagtatapos ang ating 13th episode. So, sana madami kayong natutunan. And kung may questions pa kayo, comment lang kayo dyan. Siguro pwedeng mag-answer si Isa kung may time siya dun sa mga next questions pa natin. So, again, follow nyo yung community natin, yung Overseas Filipino Entrepreneurs. And doon makikita nyo pa yung mga next episodes natin na very informative as well as this one. So, thank you, Isa, and happy Sunday, everyone.
Thank you, OFE. Happy Sunday. Good night. Bye-bye.